Welcome back, everyone. This is part 9 here of welding disassembly. I've added 3 more boxes to this stack here. We've got some winch anchor arm parts. This box has the PTO assembly parts, a lot of sheet metal there, been ground, cleaned up, a little bit of welding and some other miscellaneous parts. Those have all been labeled here on the front of the box there. And then we've got this box here. It's got the safety bar components in there. And a lot of more flat laser cut parts there. So we're going to move on. We've got some big stuff coming up here. We're going to focus on the safety bar hoop. That I'm going to TIG weld, so it's got really nice finish welds on there, no spatter or anything, since it's right around the client. And then we've got the ramp roll bar, going to work on that as well. And then from there I'm going to move into the ramp assembly here. There's a shield underneath that I need to fabricate up to protect the air cylinders that run that ramp flipper. So that's what we're going to hit on here this time, and we'll go from there. Okay, here is the safety bar roll hoop that mounts onto the ramp. So the safety bar hoop comes off of these top corners. One thing you'll notice here is I added this triangular gusset right here that ties this corner back to both tubes. So I did that on both sides right there. And then I've got everything else fully welded on this hoop. And it's ground, got all the weld spatter off in all the critical areas, shined it up nice. And then here is the safety bar hoop. I did TIG weld there, front and back. And then also these side plates. Those are TIG welded on there as well. So those 2 items are done. Now we're going to wheel that pallet over here, stack some of these boxes on it, and then we're going to go on this one. So we're doing work here on the ramp assembly. This rear wedge here interfaces with the wheelchair, keep it from tipping back. And then that is the easy lock assembly. And these things are bolted to the floor of the ramp, and I slotted the easy lock to adjust it for the optimal position, and this wedge, the angles there, are also slotted. The problem is there's nuts on the bottom of this, and to adjust that into the right position you basically have to get underneath there to do that. So while we've got this thing apart, I'm looking at some upgrades there. I'd gotten these nutserts a long time ago, and I think now is a good time to use them. I don't have a nutsert gun, so I'm using a more manual method to compress the nutsert. And what it does is it expands in this ring. Hopefully you can see that. And it bulges out, and that's what holds the nutsert in. These are sealed nutserts, so the bottom is closed. And this purple stuff that's around the edge that seals it up. And so I'm going to put those in where this wedge and that easy lock go on, and that way if I need to adjust this I can just loosen the bolts from the top, slide it, tighten it back up. So I'm going to put the position is very close to what it needs to be for optimal from when we tested. So I'll probably put a nutsert in at the location of the current bolt, and then one before and one after in each spot, just to have some adjustability there if necessary. And if I had to go beyond that, then I could just put a nut in from underneath. So we're going to get to doing this. It's not very fun. It's a lot of hand cranking to get those things to bulge out and go. Be a lot easier with a nutsert gun, but those guns are super expensive and they're for high-speed industrial stuff. We got a little time here, so we'll do them the manual method. Alright, all 6 of those, or not 6, 12 nutserts are all done and in. And now I need to flip this ramp up on its side and start working on the under tray. So the crane came in handy again for tipping this ramp up. Let's take a look at the bottom here. It's a view that you don't get to see pretty much ever. So there's 2 air cylinders there, and that controls the ramp flipper. I do have a video of this long time ago, but just a refresher. When the ramp folds out like so and comes down, and those air cylinders retract. Then when the air cylinders extend, it folds it back up and folds tight like this. Now the problem is those air cylinders are exposed, and there's these little flow control valves here and there, and those control how fast or slow the air cylinders function. So they're kind of important. We need to make a shield to cover that up, and also to protect these air lines that come towards the back there and go up to the solenoid that controls them. We just finished these nutserts for the top side. This is what the back side looks like there. I had to put a flat washer on each one there so that we were in the correct grip range for those nutserts. So that part's done. So that's going to be our main focus here on this part, is doing the under tray shield to protect those air cylinders. So as I'm working through this under shield design, looking at these air cylinders, like, why don't I try to get those flow control valves flipped up on top? Well, there wasn't enough room up on top, and it's like, well, I can make a new bracket. So I did that up top here on this side. This would be the right side. Made some new tabs, flipped the air cylinder, flow control valves are up on top, and it works great. So I'm going to make 2 more tabs, flip this other side, and then proceed on with making the under tray here. It'll help me because now I don't have to make that under tray drop down so far. It saves me at least an inch that I can put that up a little tighter here, keep it close there, and make that a little bit smoother. So this will be a nice upgrade. So I've got the start of the framework to support the under tray here on the ramp. I got these air cylinders flipped, which I talked about before, and then I cut a notch in this tube, and that clevis and arm for the first flipper goes through there. So I'll demonstrate that here. We'll get a top view. And let's see here, we got to open. And it just passes. And yep, there's clearance there. So then there's going to be another tube that's going to be right up front here. That's going to be, see if we can get far enough out here so you can see that good. That's going to sit up here. I'm going to put some tubes back to connect to there. So we'll leave that tube sitting there. And then I'm going to try and put this diamond plate like that. That'll be the front. So anything that's going to hit is probably going to hit that first. And then we'll close off the back of this with some thinner aluminum. And I've got some more framework to do that. So I'm going to keep going on this and see if I can get this fabbed up here. So here's where I got with the under frame here on the ramp. We've got these 1/2-inch bars going all the way back. The reason why I went all the way back to the rear is so that there's room for those air lines to route all the way to the back there. So I've got 5 of those. I've got a few more flat tabs to put in right along here for that front diamond plate to go on, and then the rest of that will get sheeted with some aluminum sheeting. So you're probably wondering, geez, it seems like you got a lot of parts done. Well, when we look over here, there's a lot of parts sitting here. You're probably thinking, well, how many more parts are there? Well, I've been storing some of the other parts in the back here, so let's go take a look and see how many parts are left. So here we are. I've got a pallet worth of the boogie wheel A-arm units, the swing arms. Those have to be the rest of the way disassembled, get those boogie wheels off of them, each one of them, and then weld the tubes onto the frame and the swing arms. Basically all the welding needs to be done on those. Here's the pusher bars for the tensioner portion of it. Those need to be welded up. Sprockets need to be disassembled. No welding there, but just disassembled. And then over here I've got a pallet that's got the windshield frame, the 2 window frames, and then those are the side guide rails. They don't need, for the ramp, they don't need any welding. So we've just got those items left. Those will get TIG welded. And then I also have the wheelchair control box frame. There is a little bit of welding here and there on that thing. A few tweaks that I want to implement as well. But once we get those parts tweaked and disassembled, that's all the parts that we have to go. So look at that. There's a mass majority of them there. We're really getting down to the end here before we're ready to go for sandblasting and powder coating. So stay tuned, folks, for the next episode coming. And thanks for watching, and please subscribe. And we'll catch you guys next time.